The supply chain has been on the news lately. Have you ever thought what it is? Did anybody explain to you what the supply chain actually is? It probably seems so easy, right? Really simple. Think of any final product, and then think about all the different parts that go into it. The supply chain would be the chain of all the different parties that make and assemble the parts. Think of bread. What goes inside bread is basically flour, water, and salt. Each of the ingredients is gotten from somewhere. Flour comes from mills. Mills get flour from wheat crops. Wheat crops come from the fields. And so on for the rest of the ingredients. So here you have it. That is the supply chain of bread. That seems so simple. Just make sure the fields growing the wheat are operating, transfer the wheat to the mills, then transport the flour from the mills to the bakers, and finally the bread to the grocery store. Seems simple. But it really isn't. Want to know why? Watch this video. The supply chain is full of subparts of seller and buyers. These subparts are called layers. Going back to the bread supply chain, the first layer is where the farmer sells the wheat to the mill. Second layer is where the mill sells the flour to the baker. The third layer is where the market buys from the baker. If you add intermediaries, then you are going to get more layers. For bigger supply chains, like car manufacturing, you are going to see dozens of layers. Between each set of layers of the supply chain, there is logistics involved. In the first layer of the bread supply chain, the wheat is moved to the mills. In the second layer, the flour is moved to the baker. Each one of these actions involves moving. And moving is not so easy. You should know all about this. Do you recall the tormenting and stressful experience of moving from one apartment to another? Let's revisit it, so we can learn a thing or two about the supply chain. Andrew and John are roommates and are moving out to a new apartment. They start by planning the day of the move, calling their current landlord to let him know. Then letting the landlord of the new apartment know of the move date. They have to pay a fee for elevator when moving in and out. Suppose they are moving on Sunday morning. The current building rents out the elevators, or reserves the elevator, for them for only 2 hours, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then the new building reserves the elevator for them between 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So their plan is the following. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. put everything in boxes. 9:30 a.m. call the moving company to make sure their truck would be at the entrance exactly at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. rush downstairs to let the movers in. 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. help the movers, and work like ants so you can get all the furniture loaded on the truck. 11:30 a.m. truck leaves to the new building. 12 p.m. truck arrives. 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. use the elevators to move the furniture and boxes from truck to your new apartment. 2 p.m. pay the movers. 2:10 p.m. lay on the couch drinking coffee and munching a calorie-rich cheesecake. That's the plan. Let's fast forward to Sunday to see what actually happens. At 6 a.m., both Andrew and John start boxing. Then Andrew remembers, how about the stuff in the storage space downstairs? He yells out, yes, the storage, there is more stuff in the storage. Both of them rush down. There is a mountain of stuff, sitting there, to be boxed. So they start boxing. John has an idea. Andrew can finish packing in the storage room, while John can start boxing things in the apartment. Andrew finishes boxing in the storage space and rushes upstairs to find his roommate playing on his phone.
Man, I thought you are going to pack.
It is too much work. I needed a break.
Both of them get back to packing. It is 10 a.m. already. The movers buzz from downstairs. Andrew rushes down. Gets the owner to block the elevator for the move. Then he let the movers in. It is already 10:30 a.m. The movers weren't happy when they saw a lot of empty boxes waiting to be filled.
You guys were supposed to have everything packed.
Sorry, we had some issues.
Going back to the supply chain, recall when the roommates remembered the stuff to pack in the storage space. This is a form of a rush order in the supply chain. Rush orders are unplanned and are difficult to schedule, like the case for the storage space. Rush orders happen all the time in the supply chain and need to be given priority, which creates all sorts of bottlenecks in the system, slowing down movement of material. Things become not so simple. The movers start transporting the boxes to the hallway.
Hello. You can't just leave your stuff in the hallway.
We are going to move it right away to the elevator.
No. Nothing should be in the hallway. Either in your apartment or the elevator.
The movers moved whatever they can to the elevator, and moved the rest back into the apartment. It is already 12 p.m. You are not even halfway done. The owner knocks on the door again.
I am sorry, I have to charge you for an extra hour for reserving the elevator because it's 12 already and you haven't finished the move yet.
The owner is angry because he needs to free the elevators for other customers. Going back to the supply chain, suppliers and buyers need the available resources to move material. For example, in the bread supply chain, the mill is not the only party buying wheat, other parties are also buying. They all want to upload and move material. If one buyer is late, all other buyers are going to be also late. This is why late parties pay cash penalties, just like the roommates did for not finishing the move on time. To make matters worse, delays in one spot in the supply chain causes delays in subsequent spots. Getting back to the move, things don't get better. More delays are on the way. On the road, the movers go for lunch. The roommates request from the movers to speed up, to make up for the time lost. The movers get a speeding ticket. Demand that Andrew and John pay for the ticket. A dispute breaks out. Roommates agree to pay for the ticket. More delays and penalties come their way, at the new place. The move doesn't finish till 7 p.m. It was planned to be done at 2 p.m. That's a 5 hours difference, plus the series of extra bills to pay. Back to the supply chain. The move is an example of inbound or outbound logistics, or in plain terms, transportation, and is happening all over the supply chain. As we've seen during the move, the elevator was a bottleneck. The roommates couldn't move everything all at once. The capacity of the elevator limited their capabilities. In more complex supply chains, such as the automobile industry, hundreds of moves need to happen simultaneously. Capacity bottlenecks can happen everywhere, in the truck carrying the parts, or in the warehouse holding the parts, or in the ports handling the large shipments. It is extremely complex. Even one delay can congest the whole system and cause huge delays and losses. So you can only imagine the wreckage COVID-19 did to the supply chains. For instance, most shipment coming to the U.S. from the Pacific comes through the two main ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles. No wonder, delays cascaded during the demand surge in the COVID-19 period. Next time you think of the supply chain, think of a series of logistic or transportation phases, where every session is linked to the next one. The only way for material to move smoothly is by exceptional and detailed planning and providing lots of capacity, or better, plenty of smart flexible capacity. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.